Hey guys, welcome to Hxro Labs Live, episode 48. The US election is ongoing right now. Sleepy Joe Biden, presumably in the lead, Trump contesting. It looks like he's filing a bunch of lawsuits right now at state level to halt the counting. Is there voter fraud? Are there mystery ballots? Who knows? But the markets hate uncertainty, and we have definitely seen some volatility over the past 12 hours. And I think the big news of the day right now, Bitcoin, back over $14,000 right now. Zero turbulence in the crypto markets during this election. Yeah, we've had a couple $100 swings, but nothing big, right? Things are looking pretty good. Yeah, other big news in the space, Ethereum 2.0 deposit contract is now live. What does that mean? Right? I think there's a lot of misconceptions around it right now, but we're going to dive into it. We're going to break it down, let you know what you need to know, and why it's extremely bullish, as it's going to be removing supply out of the market. Very similarly to what we've been saying with the Bitcoin supply being taken out of circulation as it's locked up in the TLV for DeFi on the top of Ethereum. So a lot of big, supply, a lot of large amounts of supply about to be moved around, potentially locked up for 2 years. I think that's the biggest caveat of this 2.0 beacon launch right now. I think a lot of people think it's going to be a simple lever switch moving to 2.0. It's just not the case. This could take up to 2 years right now. This is going to be a nice slow release, right? But yeah, the staking is live. Minimum 32 Ethereum to get access to that. I think you're granted some side token, which can then be sold later on. So I guess the profits aren't all locked in there. But this is extremely bullish for Ethereum. We've been waiting for this news, seemingly for years, and it's finally here. And I think the big alpha is tuning into those Ethereum dev calls. If you'd been following that stuff, you would have known that the deposit contract address was supposed to actually go live a couple weeks ago, but it got delayed because some people wanted some security audits on the contracts, which fair enough. We've seen a lot of blow-ups in the DeFi space relating to poor code and contracts and that getting exploited. But everything passed, it looked good, and here we are. So I think we will definitely be monitoring the inflows on that. So let's jump into it. We'll give a couple minutes for people to siphon in here. I'll move over to the screen share. And we'll jump right into the Ethereum contract stuff, as I believe this is going to be the biggest news and data points to be watching right now, similar to the outflows. We'll get into that as well, the outflow of coin from exchanges for Bitcoin. Just all this supply being taken out of the circulating supply, getting locked into long-term custody holders. I know there was $1 billion worth of Bitcoin moved, apparently related to the Silk Road, old wallets and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff going on, and using and having access to reliable on-chain analysis is an extreme edge. So this is the ETH 2.0 deposit contract. This just went live about, hour and a half ago at this point. The news did get out there probably while the election started. This was about to launch. So people did, if you were following the right people on social media, you had about 12 hours heads up prior to this. So plenty of time to position yourself. And that is why, having a very solid social media feed is super important. It's very tough to be successful in the space on your own at this point, as there's so much stuff to be watching. But again, currently we're sitting about 4,600 Ether. Let's refresh this. Are we over 5K? No, not yet. So I think there's going to be a slow trickle in here. I think there's going to be more interest from the larger holders. Why? Because essentially what you're agreeing to when you move your into the beacon contract to stake is that you're locking that stuff up for 1.5, 2 years. So you got to ask yourself, do I think that, are we going to be missing a bubble, is essentially what you need to ask yourself. If I lock this Ethereum, is the yield I'm getting from staking going to be greater than the yields that I might see in the DeFi space or, just doing pre-sale investing? I would say no. I had a very similar experience, I believe back in 2016 when the Ethereum ICO started. I had the opportunity to put Bitcoin into that. And that was the first time I had encountered locks on investments and stuff. I know it's very traditional, very standard in the traditional world, But this was something new to crypto. So I thought I could outperform Ethereum in the short term. Obviously, I was wrong. So very similar question that has to be asked here. I think the answer here is I don't think we're going to see a huge influx of small people wanting to go into this once they figure out there's a 2-year lock on that. So definitely something to keep an eye on. But so far, inflow is already at 4,600 Ether within the first couple hours. And you can see it in the chart, right? It's going to nice little up thrust here on a pretty significant volume right now. So I guess we can dive into some of the charts here and what we need to see for this rally to actually catch some steam. Because as it stands here, Ethereum at 402, it hasn't broken any resistance levels, right? If anything, it's just come into some. So is this rally, is this range break confirmed yet? Not by a mile, not yet. Bitcoin's still leading the way here and coming into a pretty key resistance level here. At least on the weekly time frame. I think this 14.3 could give a little bit of a pause. You can see here, this was kind of when it broke range back in, what is that? 2017, 2018. So I think we will see a little bit of a pause here, 14.3. And then depending on what the price reaction looks like that, we've already kind of come back and retested this, right? We're very familiar with bullish throwbacks, right? So if you're not already in Bitcoin, what are you looking for to hold? Or if you are in, what levels are you looking to hold, right? Well, very clear here, right? We had 1 tap, 2 tap, and now we've had this. This is the most important candle right here. We've had the 3rd tap of this 14K level. It's shown that it's trying to flip support. This is going to be your stop loss at this point. If we see a move back below under 14K, closing under 14K again, this could easily turn into a swing failure pattern. What does that look like? Well, looks like something like this. So come into this weekly level, spike above it, because the next area of stops is going to be here off that weekly level at 14.35 that we highlighted, right? And if we do see a rejection, aka bull trap, this could easily come right back down, right? And I think there's a lot of people looking to scale in and chase this move, and this would be a classic flush. Do I think Bitcoin's going to new lows? Of course not. The underlying institutional bid on this is absolutely fucking insane. Probably the best buy the dip asset out there right now. And once we have certainty on the election side of things, I think the markets are going to fucking roar going into the next quarter. A lot of people thinking, well, we could see some significant downside. If we see turbulence with the U.S. election, I think some of that, risk off money will be sidelined until they have certainty there. But there is a lot of capital sitting there waiting to know what the policies are going to look like for the next 4 years. So from a high time frame perspective, what are we looking for right now? Again, as long as we're holding above this 14K level, 13.2, more so on the weekly side of things, this is inevitability to back up to this resistance level here at 15.8, 16,000. So this trade has activated, again, as long as we're holding above that 13.9, 13.8 level. And we're looking for a 13% upside from here into that 15.8, 16K level. So a lot of opportunity here right now in the Bitcoin market. I'm not necessarily an advocate for trading Bitcoin just because the movements are usually much more tame than what we see, in Ethereum or any of the DeFi alts and stuff like that. But, if we see a liquidity crisis on the sell side, this can easily move up there very quickly. You can see there's only about 3,000 coins up to 15.5 right now, which is a key level. So definitely some cash to chew through, coins to chew through, and to keep in mind, as the Bitcoin market cap increases, it gets more dollar intensive to actually move this thing up, right? And that's why we like here at Hxro Labs focusing a lot more on the alt side of things, because the capital requirements for these things to move equivalent percentages or multiples greater is far less, right? So once we see, Bitcoin finally, wherever it does decide to top and cool off, where's that capital going to flow? It's going to flow into the mid caps and the small caps in the DeFi space, right? Look at the Uniswap stuff. It's not going away. The liquidity is still there, right? We're still sitting at $2.94 billion in locked liquidity on Uniswap. So is DeFi dead? Not by a long shot, right? It's just the trading volumes have taken a hit. But this makes sense, right? you can't short on Uniswap. It's a one-directional trade here on the long side, right? So once DeFi starts showing a bottom, these volumes are going to start skyrocketing again, right? So that's only a matter of time, and that is why we keep a very close eye on the DeFi indexes to give us a broader insights into what's going on across the market rather than zoning in on one particular coin. So as you see, we've come back down to this. Obviously this is the key support level to bounce off that 13.85. If we lose this, there's not much other history other than 12.4, right? So far, what we need to see to say, this is the bottom, we're going to see a really nice bounce here. There's no confirmation of it just yet, unless you had the forethought to be setting those limit orders down at the support. So what we need to see right now is a move back above this 15.6, but inevitably, this is your key reversal level. If you see, and you don't need to be looking to capture all of this, right? Like, what we're looking for is the range expansion and the confirmation of trend. That is why we focus on these indexes. Because if the DeFi index is back above this bearish throwback level, what are we looking for? Look at this upside. And it's going to be much lower risk than, say, trying to capture something like this, right? We don't have, below this level, we don't have confirmation that the bull is back in town and we're about to go bubble 2.0, right? We want to remove that downside risk, that uncertainty. You do so by waiting, having some patience for this bearish throwback level at 18,000, 17.6 to be reclaimed. And that's okay because, again, look at these upside targets, right? We know that as the DeFi goes on, the products are only getting better, the teams are getting stronger, the network effects are growing. It's growing more anti-fragile as networks in this space do as they grow. The bigger they get, the stronger they get generally, right? It's the ethos of Bitcoin, the most anti-fragile asset investment in the history of Earth. So yeah, these are the ranges that we're looking for. 1, 2, 3, 4 fantastic ranges to be watching. And again, if we're moving back above these levels, you're not going to want to be focusing on those short-term trades. You're going to want to be focusing on the fucking mega swing trades. This confirmation, this is what you're using this chart for, is for confirmation of trend, right? So once you have that, at that point, we can start looking at this at the individual tokens, right? Because again, the smaller tokens are going to move much greater than 30% of what you would see in this index, right? So say DeFi moves up, for example, 30%. Where do you think, let's pick a coin out of the thin here, YFI, for example, right? It's actually just come down and hit that first major level that we were touching. But if DeFi is going full bull, what's your first trade on YFI, right? Well, above this bearish throwback, you're looking for at least that. So while you might have that 25 to 30% move in the index that will replicate the market structure, you're going to be having a 2-3x multiple in terms of price movements across the individual assets, right? Generally, these things move together, and that's the alpha, right? Is recognizing the correlations and inverse correlations between coins in different sectors in the space. So again, a lot of this, just patience. I personally, I still have some bids set down here. I was hoping for that stink wick down in there. As we have been saying before, these charts don't look like capitulation, right? Like this is a pretty smooth curve down right now, what we've seen. Right, you can just see it curving down. It's only now started to hit that vertical, right? So normally in capitulation, it's a fucking straight shoot down and then the bounce back. Once you see that bounce back and say, hit that and a progressive move back up, that would be confirmation that of the capitulation, in my opinion. You'd assume that there's a nice volume spike and the buy volume, much significantly higher. So that's the other point of confluence that we use. Not only are we using horizontal levels and momentum indicators, but we're confirming it with the volume, right? And for momentum indicators, they lag over time periods, right? Volume, this is stuff you can watch in real time. Candlesticks, this is stuff you can watch in real time. They tell a real-time story. All other indicators, for the most part, are lagging indicators, and they act as confluence to back up what you see in the volume as well as in the candlesticks. Jim, good to see you. I know you were traveling the other day. Welcome back. fantastic to have you here today. So again, what we're waiting for, you could totally, so I'm setting bids down here, hoping we see another smackdown at some point. Might not get it. We hit this first major level right now. I'm okay, to miss this range. I don't care, right? I don't care if I miss this at all. I know it's huge. It's 42%. Wow, Nick, you're a fool. You're missing out on all that opportunity. Yeah, potentially. But again, I'm looking to mitigate my risks. I just want to get into a swing trade. I don't want to have to worry about day-to-day management of this stuff, right? I'm looking for the big fucking movers up to these ranges, right? So this is what I'm interested in. This is what I believe you should be interested in, unless you do some day trading, scalping and stuff, which depending on your bandwidth, if you're a working professional or whatever, you just don't necessarily have the time or the patience to do that. So these are why we promote these type of setups, the range expansions. So again, a lot of these DeFi pairs hitting some really interesting key levels. Well, except keep WETH, like this thing is just fucking tanking hard. But we'll get into some other really interesting analysis from another data provider that I just came into a little bit and share some alpha on that one. Let's quickly go back to the US dollar here. We did say there was going to be massive dollar volatility during the election. Sure enough, we have that, right? Coming right off this key support level here at 11.9. Technically, the market structure still bearish, right? We're still below, and I'm talking from a macro perspective, of course. Yeah, we'll definitely dive into Algorand here in a second. Usually on my watch list. But quickly to go over this macro stuff, since this is going to influence everything else, similar to our thesis on indexes. Below this 12.1 level, bearish, right? This is going to be good for risk-on assets. If we move above here, maybe not so much. So yeah, as long as the support level, this is a weekly level at this point. We've been chopping in here for the past 2 months now. It's fucking crazy. But as long as we're above 11.9, there's no threat of the US dollar melting down or anything. US dollar, if we do see a deflation of fiat currencies and devaluing of fiat currencies, which is happening in the weaker economies right now, US dollar will probably be the last one to experience that, right? As the other currencies go, where are they going to go? They flee into liquidity. They go into the perceived safe haven, right? And there's no greater liquidity than the dollar liquidity. So quickly checking back here again. There's just the reason why I'm going over this stuff is because there's fantastic trade opportunities here, right? And there's platforms out there like SimpleFX. I know FTX just started adding equities and stuff as well. So crypto users for the first, well, no. Not the first time, but crypto users are getting more broad exposure to these assets, and there's setups across all markets. And again, with gold, as long as we're below this 1930, 1940 level, which was your former all-time highs, it has a bearish bias to it, right? If we lose these range lows here, this thing is headed back down to 1760, right? This is the yearly resistance level, and this is why I would be a huge buyer at this level. Look at that. But going back to 2012, 2011, 3 taps, boom, 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 and there she dies, right? So again, this is just an unfilled gap. That's it, right? Like this market structure is still bullish. Like this could easily come down if we do see some broader strength in the US dollar going into the next quarter. So again, what would we be looking for? Boom, boom, higher low, and then there she goes. I think it's an inevitability. Until gold goes to higher prices, considering what we're seeing from the central banks with their unlimited printing. Inflation may not happen tomorrow, but it's brewing, right? The amount, the big difference between the amount of, say what Japan's been doing, they've been in deflation, or they were in deflation for 20 years or something. They own 90%, or they own at least a minority stake of 5% and 90% of the assets listed on the Nikkei. The Fed and the ECB, if you look at their balance sheets, they're not quite at those levels yet, but they're trending up, right? They need to support these markets with liquidity, and they are becoming the largest shareholders in the majority of their stock indexes. So super interesting what's going on right now. It only ends in one direction, and that's this stuff in fiat currencies imploding. So that's going to be really good for commodities, gold, silver, platinum, digital gold, Bitcoin, etc. Fantastic. Yes, let's dive into it then. Link, we've been watching this one. I think I identified a 3 drive patterns on that. We'll get into this chart in a little bit. We'll just take this one here, go to USD. We'll take it off Coinbase here. Good old Brian Armstrong. Actually, I don't like this chart at all. And when you're looking for what to chart, your goal is to find the chart and exchange with the most data. So this goes back to July. Whatever, we'll take it. So this market structure is, again, technically bearish, right? We're below the bearish throwback levels here. So until we see this reclaimed, once this gets reclaimed, off she goes to new highs, right? But below this, you should just be scalping. There's no real edge here at the moment, right? There's no clear trend. If anything, we're kind of just stuck in this range. So you kind of got what is that? Support level right around here. And then obviously, and this is what you look for in a staircase. So you see exactly. So you can see, it comes down, price drives down, and then what happens, pumps back up, hits the throwback, rejects. But what you're looking for to identify strength for continuation versus just up and back down she goes is taking these former levels from the left, right? So this former resistance, what happened? It flipped to support, right? So that was your signal to get to dive back into this one. And sure enough, I think, what's that, 15% move off that level, 40% move off that level. Jesus, fuck me. But why I wasn't too bullish on this yet? Well, this is a classic pattern right here, a 3 drives, right? 3 drives below resistance. So you got that first drive here, 1, 2, 3. Right? Technically bullish, right? You got the higher low, higher low, higher low, higher high, higher high, higher high. This is an uptrending channel. It's not something you necessarily want to short, but normally on the 3 drive pattern, it came into a really great level, right? It's not the true throwback, but this is the daily resistance. So you got a 3 drive pattern into resistance, no divs on the momentum or anything. So that, it wasn't a glaring signal to short. But what are we looking for now? Well, if this is bullish, this is probably going to try and hold around this, what is that, 10.8 that I was saying? Okay, like 9.8. Yeah, so as long as these lows hold here, the market structure is still bullish. It hasn't violated anything. It hasn't made a lower low or anything like that, right? Well, maybe that wick almost came back down. Very close, very close. But yeah, that's what we're watching for here. Again, above this level, this is your real trade, is taking this trade off here. Minimum 23%, taking out that range high, right? So this is what we're looking for here. This would confirm it. So what would the actual market structure look like? And sure enough, look at your stoke here, right? Coming down, resetting nicely. If you see something like this, boom. If you see that cross above the 20 line or inversely the 80 line, that's your signal of that momentum is behind you, right? At that point, you can lower your time frames and look for an entry if you're not already in. So again, if we see something like this, come up, a little lower high, smash it, turn then this level here, right? This is what you're looking for to confirm it. If this were the resistance level flips to support, this is your long entry to capture these trades, to capture this range expansion. That would be your long entry. When this resistance level flips to support, you fucking bet this thing would rocket up here and take out these highs here, right? Now I'm bullish on Chainlink. They have over 300 partnerships. Partners. You validate your project through legitimacy of other people wanting to work with you, and you get the added benefits of leveraging other network effects, right? So it's a classic, when I'm working with early stage companies, this is a strategy I promote heavily because it works, right? These are networks. We're building network effect to create value. Where do you think the value is derived from? You see a lot of traditional guys, analyzing the company and profits and losses and cash flows and earnings and all that shit. Doesn't matter. It's a network. The network value is derived from the network effect, right? So that's why we monitor the on-chain stuff for activity, inflows, daily transactions, unique addresses, all of that stuff. Let's see if I can pull up this brand new. So I got introduced to these guys. I want to introduce you to them, guys. Nansen.ai. I have my info already logged in. I hope so. Thank you. Perfect. And I already have permission to share all this. It's all good, guys. Can you chart OWL? Definitely. We'll dive into that in 1 second. But quickly, I want to share some like this is god tier fucking alpha right here. And hardly anybody knows about these guys. I just got introduced to them through a friend. It takes a little bit to load. I'll use, what will I use? It's not biased. Let's use link. We were just talking about it. Why not? Let's look at it. Add filter. The data takes a second to propagate here. While that happens, I'll quickly dive into a chart on ALGO. We saw an early request on that. We'll take a look at the USD. Who added Algorand first? Probably not Coinbase. Binance is usually pretty quick. Okay, yeah, we got enough data on this one. Oh wow, what a fucking train wreck. Okay. So is this a coin you want to be shorting right here? No, it's not. In fact, it's at the daily support level. If you're bullish on Algorand, this is probably a pretty decent spot to be buying. Sitting right in the spot right now. If we're closing, if this flips to resistance, that's concerning, at this 26-cent level right here. So for me, I don't have an active position in this right now. But very similar to my strategy, if I see prices closing back above this major support level that broke around this 27 cents, I'm bullish on this stuff again. If you like this stuff long term, yeah, this is your buy zone, right? But I'm not looking to accumulate this stuff long term or anything. I'm just a trader. I just want to capture low risk, high probability moves. So for my own strategy here with Wyckoff in mind, I need to see price come back above this 27-cent level. And we could see substantial upside movements from this, right? And a lot of these alts have been absolutely fucking pummeled, 70, 80% down right now. So are these areas you want to be shorting? No. The time to short is gone. Even if we believe, which we did, right? Even if coin is down 90%, it could still drop, but who cares about capturing that last 10%? You're fucking taking crumbs when the meat of the actual trading is going to be on the reversals, right? So always keep that in mind, guys. It's okay if you miss some opportunities. It's 24/7. Markets go up and down, not just one directional thing, unless you're Bcash. Anyways, what do we need to see? If we see a move back above here, and this is your signal, right? If this level turns back to support, fucking long the long, right? And where are you going to be targeting this bad boy up to? Well, probably right back into this little block right here, around 35 cents, right? That's your first target right here. Kablooey. And then you probably see a little retrace. And again, if the resistance level, I'm sure it'll form a little range, flips to support, you get the higher low right here. You could add to your longs here. If you're not already long, that would be your next signal to get long. Where would you be targeting? As we said before, Algorand will retest this 50-cent level right fucking here. I'm shocked that it hasn't already done so. But as this cycle completes, this is your target, right? That's 100% move from here. So huge opportunity. All you need to do to capture this trade is just wait for confirmation that we've reversed. That's it. And you're still going to get early signals at 25 cents, 26 cents, right? So who cares if you get a 5% better entry with a much higher risk? Like imagine this fucking level hits here at 24, you're super long, and then it just fucking rejects. Where's it going to go? Well, damn, man, this thing's headed back down to here, down to this level here. So that's massive downside risk. I'm not interested in taking that. Fuck that. I'm interested in the confirmation of a trend. So that's, I try and implore that on every single stream. And, that's what we're looking for. Yeah, I hope you guys appreciate that Bob Ross costume there. It was itchy as shit. Okay, let's dive into the SNX. Yeah, I think this one's kind of diverged a little bit. USD. Who listed this one first? Kraken? Wow, that's fucking god awful. Well, the very easy chart here again, right? Like, what do we need to see? This was the major support level that broke down. This is the major level that needs to be reclaimed. Look at that downside move off of that break. Amazing. I wonder if I could zoom this down and if we got the actual retest. So this is a tough one to trade if you were looking for a short entry. Why? Because normally, what do we say? Don't chase the break, wait for the retest. Unfortunately, that didn't happen on SNX, right? That's okay. Like you're not going to get perfect market structure absolutely every time, right? So you got the move. What you would have been waiting for was a retest of this level here, right? This 3.4 level. And that's going to be absolutely crucial going forward if this market's trying to reverse, right? Today, obviously, fucking huge spike up there. But sure enough, guys, it hasn't actually reclaimed anything yet, right? This is just like a spazzing baby who's not getting his way and just throwing a market tantrum right now. So, there's no confirmation of a true reversal until we're above that 3.4. And I know people are looking at it, it's like, well, what if I think the market's reversing? I'm hoping the market's reversing. Why don't I buy here? Because you have infinite downside risk here. There's no price history. There's no levels to go off of, right? If we get a capitulation, where's it going to stop, right? You don't have an edge. You don't have any insights here. So I'm not interested in this stuff, right? I'm waiting for this price to get back above 3.4. If I see price drift back up here, it's probably going to still do something like this bullshit. Comes back up, it's going to probably drive into this $4 level, nice round whole number. It's also, this is a 4-hour chart. You got a 4-hour range here. You got to, this confirm the range there, confirm the range there, confirm the range there. So plenty of confluence at this level, right? So that's what you're looking for. This would come back down, and if this flips to support, the market is reversed. The bulls are back in town. Long it. Up to $6, range highs, 5.6, $6. Your first stop would be here at 4.6. I make it look easy, but you do this for as long as I've been doing it, and the chart just speaks to you. It sings. So that's what we're looking for on SNX. Confirmed bullish above 3.4. Until then, there's no reason to take the risk, right? Who cares if you miss out on the 30% move when the real juice of this stuff is going to be capturing this, right? So that's my 2 cents on SNX. Looks good. Let's see, happy little accidents. I'm not sure what you're relating to there. But yeah, Nansen, hopefully it's loaded by now. Fantastic. Okay, let's quickly dive into this. This is not paid or anything. I just like their platform. So what's really interesting, this first data metric, you get to see the amount of supply on exchanges, right? The more supply on the exchanges, the more potential sell-side pressure. So the lower this number is, the better. The easier it is for price to increase, right? Move it down here. So this stuff is just, again, you can see all the top exchanges, top addresses, the exchanges, how much balances they hold, the amount of changes. Stuff's just super useful. And what's really great about this product is that a lot of the wallets have been they've been mapped, they've been tagged, right? So like you can see all what these guys are doing. There's the Chainlink team address, the Huobi address, the Binance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And sometimes you can identify the market makers early on as well, and then you can just track them. You can just track them, right? So a lot of great on-chain data from these guys. Nansen, check them out. I'll give you a lot of help moving forward here. Let's quickly dive back into what do we got here. Okay, SNX. Let's take a look at REN. Actually, no, quickly take a look at this one. 2 billion total BTC on Ethereum. This thing isn't stopping anytime soon. And very similarly to what we were talking about with the amount of ETH getting locked in here, we're moving it from supply, another 200 ETH added there. It's the exact same thing is happening with Bitcoin, right? At the start of the year, we were predicting 1 billion by end of year. I was wrong. It's already at 2. And this is just a complete exponential curve. I don't think this is going to stop anytime soon. Bitcoin has completely dropped the ball on being able to provide yield and utility, passive besides being a store of value to its users. And then you get this mass exodus. It's natural. So, but again, what we're looking for is always monitoring what's going on with REN BTC. How much network usage and product use are they actually getting? Hopefully this chart can load soon. It's probably, yep, there we go. Look at that. Look at that. It looks beautiful. So I'm super bullish on REN for this reason. People are using their product at the end of the day. A lot of people are moving, staking and validating through their nodes. So I like this one. I want to buy this project. This is a support level we've been watching. I thought we were really going to crush down here as alts were fucking dying off about this past week. It hasn't happened. I'm going to be patient. I'm not looking to jump into this one right away. And that's the great thing. You got the fundamental analysis side of things, but you also have the technicals. So what do we need to see right here, right? This is the support level. This is where you want to be buying. If it were to get nuked, always have a plan B. This is probably your key level that needs to hold, around 12, 13 cents. So what do we need to see right now? Well, if we see REN come back down here into the support level, boom. If this confirms support, up she goes. That's going to be your entry around 15 cents. Your stop loss, probably below this level right here. Where does that come out to? Around like 12 cents or so. So that's what we're looking for in REN. The network, again, our strategy here when you're in bear markets or downtrends is to identify projects that have strong network value. And they're actually solving problems, not only in present, but problems of tomorrow, right? They have a team that's capable of delivering on those. And I think REN is one of those things. So, I'm waiting here. I'm happy to set some new alarms. I had some alarms set once this range broke. And my strategy with alarms is I set one ahead of the level, so I get that precaution. I call it a precaution alarm, and then one actually at the level that I'm interested in buying at. And then obviously your fucking oh no alarm if you see this go off, something terrible is happening. And that's essentially it. Like, I don't need to look at this chart anymore, right? I'm just waiting for my alarms. I know I'm not interested in buying anything between here. So what do I care if price oscillates between here? I don't give a fuck. Right? I'm only interested once price starts getting into these levels. So you get your early alarm, then you could have another alarm actually set in the block. So that's what I'm looking for here. I think REN's a great project. But let's quickly look at ETH BTC. If you've been following us on our Hxro Labs Twitter, you can find that link in our description. We have been spot fucking on, almost to the pip. A pip is just a Forex term if you're not familiar with that. Measures a 10 basis point movement. Anyways, we've hit this bullish throwback level. This is a huge it was a huge inefficiency, a gap inefficiency in the market to be filled, right? When we broke down the support throwback level, it's filled, right? So now what we're looking for is a positive price reaction. And we're seeing that. And not only, what's so exciting about this, guys, is that the momentum indicators on high timeframes have bottomed out, right? Even the VZO is starting to get into positive territory for the first time since May. So that's super interesting to me. The only thing I'm looking for at this point is volume to come in on these pairs. And it really sucks because while Ethereum is super bullish and stuff, with Bitcoin moving as hard as it is, and could potentially increase in its velocity, it puts a lot of strain on these pairs, right? But that's why we use ETH BTC as kind of a marker for the broader alt ecosystem, because it's the king, it's the daddy, it's one of the most liquid, it's the number 2 to Bitcoin, right? So again, as long as this market structure holds here, I'm very confident that we'll see at minimum a rise back up to these levels, 10% move from these lows here, right? And if we do break down, right, let's say King Bitcoin really fucking comes in there and kicks the shit out of alts, this thing could easily move back down, 0.25, 0.26, and still be bullish, right? I'd be a happy buyer here. Look at the volume nodes as well, right? Your only real concern if this thing was getting invalidated is if we're closing below these levels here at 2.6, right? If we're closing below that, the trade would be invalidated. You have to wait for a new reversal. You can't short down here. You've missed the entire fucking move, right? You got your momentum indicators that are completely trashed at the bottom. So the risk is high, your reward is low. You're better off waiting, right, for the next buy opportunity. which I don't think it's going to get down to these levels, guys. I'm just, saying how you would trade it. That's all. You'd be looking for this range, down here, right? You got confluence on the volume, nice double bottom, a lower low, right? Nice V-shaped recovery. There's demand here. This is what this chart is telling me. There's demand at these levels. So that's what I would be looking for. However, I have a bullish bias towards Ethereum right now. Literally 2.0 just launched. So, short at your own risk right now. So that's what we're looking for. Let's quickly actually look down this at the lower time frames. Yeah, look at that volume candle. That is what you want to see, guys. That's what you're looking for. Look at that thing. Just dwarfed the past 2-week average. So that's awesome. That's strong demand and definitely fueled on a fundamental driver here, right? So, if we can clear these highs at 2.9, right, 2.95, very confident that this thing will rocket back up. What will that look like for the next quarter? Because I do believe Ethereum swing trade is going to be the trade of 2021. So if we see price come up here, what's going to happen next? Well, it's probably going to get a little rejection back down to here, and then it could really move up, right? So this is going to be the key reversal level up back here at this former resistance. If we see price flipping this back to support, this is alt season. This is your signal for alt season. Just fucking save this chart, because back up to here, confirm, higher low, alt season. Alt season. Let's go, right? There's so much room up here, and that's what we're looking for. So keep an eye on that. Set your alarms. At this point, my alarms to the downside were already all triggered. So I'll just set one on the lows here. I'll set one on the range highs, and I'll set another one here. Look at that. See, this is why I really like this level here, guys. Right? And it's kind of front running this little block here, right? But why I haven't put alarms here is because the real break and real momentum came after it broke this level here, right? Like, we broke these levels, and what? We got no downside momentum off of that, right? That wasn't the real break to be watching. This is the one where you got the catalyst off of. So when you come back up, this is going to be your primary resistance point at 0.035. So that's what we're looking for on that. That's going to be your signal for alt season. MTA. I want to get into it eventually. I've been bearish on this motherfucker since up here. The inflation on this, the distribution schedule from early investors is so high. So it's just constant sell pressure, right? From a market structure point of view, what needs to happen? We need to see a move back above this 1.3. I know a lot of people on crypto Twitter love this one, but until we see a move back above here, there's no trade to be had for the long side. Just continuously making lows, right? So I guess you could say, if you are trying to gamble, these lows here will be your stop loss. But this is just a game of stop loss at lows, random, stop loss at lows, random, right? There's no clear reversal pattern yet, and that's what I'm saying. Don't rush into things where you don't have confirmation. Otherwise, you can get trapped in price action like this, right? Those equal lows, as they say, love to get rated. And sure enough, that's exactly what happens here. But again, there's huge opportunity in this chart. I love low price coins because the percentage movements are so big. So if I see price move above here, I'll jump in a scalp. I will trade this. It's a 40% move up to resistance, right? And then again, if this level were to turn to support, I would trade this back up to here, another 40% move. So there's plenty of opportunities with confirmation on your side, right? What would that look like? What am I looking for? I need to see price. I don't care about this trade. I don't give a fuck about this trade at all, right? And there's no confirmation of anything. If I see price come back above here and turn this to support, this becomes support, that's your entry signal. You're entering around 1.1, right? And you're trading this bad boy up to 1.5. What's going to happen then? Well, odds are it's never been tested, right? You're going to get some rejection off that level. I'm sorry, it's going to happen. And then you're going to be looking for this resistance pocket here at 1.25, even a little volume node, to support. And that'll add confluence for the next leg up. right? So what would you have here? Well, look what's formed. A 1 drive up to here, a 2 drive up to here, and a 3 drive up to here. And at that point, again, this is completely untested, right? Untested. This is going to get rejected at this level. And it'll probably come back down, retest this bearish throwback. If that confirms, make a higher low, and then it can go on its merry way. But this is how I think about the markets. This is how I think about charts. Hopefully something is translating over to you guys. Again, if you have anything you want me to take a look at, drop it in the box. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep going here. There's so many interesting setups happening in the markets right now. It's just unbelievable the amount of opportunity right now, right? Like, quit the day jobs, focus on crypto. The opportunity is huge at the moment. And THETA, we shorted this thing. We fucking crushed THETA. We've been doing, he brought the attention to this one. Hopefully you guys have been following the calls there. They've been money. And I was surprised. We did not break this bullish level. Like, my God, if this low here holds, I'm going to set an alarm on it now. This thing can really rocket back up, right? What I'm going to be looking for at this point, again, I haven't bought anything here. I've closed out my shorts. I've posted this next swing trade that I'm looking for. If we see a move from up here to up here, this is what we need to see first, right? So we need to see price come up to this level and then flip that to support. That will be your entry level for the next trade. So around the 65 cents, right? So if we see the price move up from here, come back down, blah, 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 shoot back up. And if it confirms like this is your entry off the 65. Target 1, this retest of the 75. And then obviously, what you're really looking for is a break of this 80 cents trade. So taking a trade from 65 up to 75 and up to 80. That's what we're looking for. You'll have confirmation of the bull behind you. Momentum indicators have bottomed out. This is very similar to what we saw with Bitcoin, right? Exact same plays, guys. Like, markets are just visual representations of its participants. Primarily in crypto, the participants are human operators. And even with algorithms, who creates algorithms? Humans. We're preconditioned to repeat our behavior, unfortunately. So very similar to what we saw on Bitcoin. Price came down, holds that bullish throwback level, right? A little bit of consolidation, and then you get the fucking up thrust move. Look at THETA right now. It's the exact same. It's the exact same. It's literally the exact same. So if we see consolidation taking place in this range right here, right? Boom, 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 boom. If this continues to hold, eventually this thing is going to fucking rocket, right? It's just building up momentum, right? You're just shaking the can, waiting for it to explode. So I think there's a huge trade here. I'm really excited for it. Again, like, just awesome price movements off these levels with a huge confirm, wherever it goes, I don't know. But yeah, easy stop losses too, right? If we lose these lows here at 53 cents, get out. Just wait, because we know this thing's going to go down 30%, down to 37 cents, right? So that's what I'm waiting for. I think there's a lot of opportunities there. All right, let's see this comp. Uni, Lend. Oh yeah, let's get right into Uni, because this one, poor Uni protocol. Uni USD, the inflation on this thing right now. There's so much opportunity, but they're squandering it. And their first mistake was having a $50 million cost for new proposals. That was really a death blow to these guys. Wow, it's below $2 at the moment. Actually, let me pull up another chart here. Because it has a little bit more data behind it than these late listings here. Here we go. Yes, to pull this up for you guys. My YouTube back open. All right, here we go. So this is Uniswap on Uniswap. What am I waiting? I'm not looking to catch a knife on this, even though look at that. It's a little bit back of buy volume today. We need to see Uni back above 2.4. Back above 2.4, these are some fantastic trades to be taking off these levels here. Right? Look at that. Boom, like that. Then we'll draw price, get the price ranges. So again, you could be taking the trade off. Oof, look at that. Fucking right up to the range. Boom, up to there. So this is how I map my trade ideas, guys. This is it. Like it's not rocket science. Rocket science. All I'm doing is identifying liquidity levels, support and resistance, whatever you want to call it. Support and resistance is liquidity. It's just resting liquidity. That's how it gets formed in the first place. Then you'd be looking for trades like this. So look at that. 3 targets, 1 stop loss. If we're above this 2.4 level, if these ranges were to get lost at 2.2, you would get out, right? So, that's a 4-to-1 trade. That's a 7-to-1. That's a 11-to-1. Those are fantastic odds to be taking. So if we see price come back up here, probably get a little rejection here, and then finally smash this level, and this turns to support, this is your real entry. This 2.4 level, 2.4 switching back to support, this will trigger the long bias, the confirmation of momentum, and you're going to be targeting 1, 2, 3, right? Just based off of these ranges here, right? 1, 2, 3, and then obviously you'll have these higher targets up here around $6, and then again, target highs up here, up there. But these are your immediate trades. So depending on your trade style, you could take a full swing trade for an entire quarter and look to capture this entire range, or maybe you're more of a day trader, right? You just want to capture these ranges because we know markets are going to come back and retrace, right? So, plenty of different strategies. I like the long hold approach on a lot of this stuff myself. Are you staying in for these 3 targets? I would probably be getting out around here, like 3.6, 3.7 off of this trade, because I would suspect that we would get a substantial, 10, 15% pullback. And I like locking in profits and moving on to the next one, personally. Unless, Uniswap, they could launch 3.0 at any time. They could start incentivizing the liquidity providers even more. There's a whole bag of tricks that they could play to incentivize people to hold this stuff. I think the biggest one being that if they start issuing dividends and sharing fees from the exchanges rather than just giving it straight to liquidity providers, it'd be a switch in business model, but it would definitely incentivize Uniswap demand, right? So you're rewarded proportionate to the amount that you hold, or for what they've done so far. Liquidity providers were rewarded based on the amount of participation on the network, right? So 2 different ways of looking at this and rewarding your user base. So that's what I'm looking for there. I think inflation is going to be pretty high on this stuff right now, and they're going to need to lower their costs to issue proposals, which I believe the last one they tried to push it down, it failed, right? Governance is still relatively new. It's flawed, it's centralized, and getting user participation in this stuff is the biggest thing. Take a look at the Ethereum Mandela testnet, for example, right? Unincentivized testnets, the participation falls off very quickly, right? That's why we have incentivized testnets to keep, like Filecoin's a perfect example there, right? All right, let's dive into the next chart here. Jim, appreciate you giving me some ideas here. Let's jump into comp. Yeah, we'll use Binance, whatever. Again, a lot of these charts are going to be looking the same across the DeFi space right now. That's why we started off with the index, right? So no signs of any reversals. No levels have been reclaimed. If you're buying this stuff today, you're basically making the bet of what you're saying is the bottom is in, based on 0 confirmation. You're just saying it. You're proclaiming it. The bottom's in. This is it. Here we go. It's only upside from here. Bitcoin's going up. Surely everything else follows. That's probably your thesis, right? But as a trader, with the structured trade plans, you can't just be trading off hopes and a whim, right? You need to see these levels get reclaimed, right? So again, there's so much upside here on these coins right now. They've just gotten so fucking wrecked, right? And that's why I'm not concerned about missing these little initial moves, right? If we see a move again, like the entry is going to be this $95 flipping back to support, right? If we see that, you can then ride this thing all the way back up to these ranges, right? This is going to be your first major target, right? Around like 140. You got the confluence on the volume node there. It's a nice range level. It's the bearish throwback. Multiple points of confluence equals magnets for targets. That's how I find my targets. Multiple points of confluence at a level, right? So you would expect then this price to come back down here. This confirmed again, this resistance flipping to support. This is your confirmation for your next trade up to these levels, right? 170, look at the volume node there. This was the range resistance here, right? Support, resistance, right? It's just the coded confluence of this entire level. If you were to pull up an order book on this, you're probably going to see a lot of resting liquidity at this 178, 190 level, right? So that's what we're looking for. Like those are the real trades and the opportunities right now. That's why monitoring this space right now over the next week is so critical. We're going to get resolution from the macro side and the legacy with the US elections, and we're going to potentially be seeing a lot of this stuff bottoming out, right? So do you really care about capturing this move, you guys? With potential, if this thing rejects at this level, it's going to make new lows, right? Like it's not worth taking. Just wait. Just have some patience. Wait for this to confirm, and then capture the real trade with very limited risk, right? So you'd be looking for this and all the way up to here. So what do you want? The 5% trade with fucking huge downside risk, or do you want the 55% and 91% trade with very minimal downside risk? Your stop loss is essentially below $88. So if you're getting long at 95, your risk is look at that, guys. It's 11 to 1. 20 to 1. Fucking hell. Please take these trades if we see confirmation. I'm begging you. If you love money, this is how you do it. Yeah, we've had negative price discovery for a while. It's been absolutely fucking savage. DeFi absolutely wrecked, etc. But this could be the turnaround, right? We only need these major assets to create. If we start seeing Bitcoin 15K, 16K, what do you think is going to be happening with the mainstream media? They're going to be talking about it. They're going to drive retail to this space. From a psychological point of view, we saw this back in 2017. People like buying cheap assets, right? People don't want to buy Bitcoin at $15,000. So when Coinbase, back in 2017, what they had, and I'll just use this as a black screen, you had three options when you logged in. You could buy BTC, right? You could buy LTC, you could buy XRP. It was very simple, and it had the prices. Say Bitcoin was at 19,000, right? LTC was, fucking $10. Whatever. You get my point. Bitcoin highly valued. It looks expensive, right? People still do not understand you can buy a fraction of a cryptocurrency, right? There's a huge disconnect there. There's a gap in knowledge, right? And then XRP was say 23 cents. What are people going to buy? They're going to buy the perceived better value, right? They're going to buy this. Why? Because they think it's going to, if Bitcoin can go from 23 cents to 19,000, why can't XRP? That's their mindset. That's their psychology. That's their level of knowledge. It's very limited, right? So those are the people, the retail base you're trading against. They get fucking smoked because they don't understand this stuff, right? But that's why this stuff, you can't ignore it, right? This XRP moved way greater than Bitcoin or LTC in percentage terms, right? And it moved fast, right? And that's all because of human behavior and the psychology of it. Once you understand that, you understand why we get these price movements in these other smaller cap coins, right? All right, cool. Moving on. Bitcoin moving up a little bit here, guys. Right now, back at 14.15. Again, if you're long, your key stop loss level right now is below this 14,000 mark. Resistance, you're probably going to see it up here on 14.2. I could easily see this thing driving up to 14.4. I'm personally expecting that right now before end of day. Same thing here with Ethereum, guys. Yes, disclaimer, I'm long on this stuff. I was lucky enough. I've been paying attention to these. I knew the deployment was coming. It was just a matter of fucking Vitalik tweeting it out. It did get tweeted out last night, like I said, and that's why it's so important to have scraping for data, looking for keywords, scanning GitHub repositories, all that stuff. It sounds complex, but once you've done it a few times, it's not so bad. Or you can just hire someone. That's always great to outsource that. Let's move back to BNB quickly here, because again, a really nice setup forming here, guys. Everything we share is actionable. And like, I'm not going to show you a chart that has no immediate action that you can't take, right? So here again, very similar to what we were just talking with ETH BTC with this bullish throwback level. If this were to get rejected, it still has another layer of support very close by, right? It's the exact same thing with here at BNB, right? We had this bullish throwback level off these former highs back in February, right? We've seen some support off of it. Unfortunately, we didn't, it didn't have that same upthrust from that level. However, even when it broke down, it didn't negate the bullish market structure, right? We can just pull over this resistance level, right? And sure enough, it flips to support. So if you're taking longs right now off these levels, where's your stop loss? Well, it's right down here at 25.6. What are you looking for? Well, we already know Binance, BNB is going to do well if we see a true retail cycle again, right? Which I think we will next year. Maybe not, by the end of the year, but definitely next year. And we're going to be looking for this thing, to reclaim up there. And then if we can claim that back up to these range highs, and obviously up to all-time highs. And look at that, your downside risk, even from right here, it's pretty low, 5%. So 3-to-1 trade there, 5-to-1 trade here, and an 8-to-1 trade there. Fantastic. That's awesome, right? Those are the trades you want. So what do you need to see for this to confirm? Well, ideally, if you don't want to take that first trade up to here, which, totally understandable, right? The market structure hasn't confirmed itself just yet. But if we do move above this level here at 29.6, that will activate these two trades. But the big trade you're going to want is up to this $38 level. Binance Smart Chain continuing to add, 10% users on a day-to-day basis. So fantastic growth. That's what we want to see. How does data scraping work? Well, for example, you can just set like keywords. If you're a little bit more, keywording is probably like the easiest one to do. I'm not going to get into a full tutorial on that, but yeah, just keyword scraping and then setting that up what to monitor, whether that be domain registry is a good one. Obviously activity on GitHub, looking for keywords, things like that, right? So it's a little bit more advanced. Maybe at some point we'll do a tutorial on it. But for now, that's what all the major funds and advanced traders are doing at this point. And that's the thing. We always talk about sophistication and maturity in the market. It's getting more and more difficult to trade on shorter time frames because the participants are more and more intelligent and they have more automated systems. So their access to information is much greater than what your average person is going to have. Let's dive into here on Lend. Okay, it's not on here. We're going to have to pull up our chart here on CoinTrader Pro. Oh, it's not even on here. Where is this thing, Jim? Lend. Didn't they rename themselves like to AAV or something? Alvi? Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought they did. Regardless. All right. Well, I'm not going to chart it until I know. Let's move over to RLC. Again, I don't know anything about this one. Okay. It's not, I tried because it's traded against this pair. Okay, gotcha. Oof. Well, actually, it's at a really nice level. And that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of these charts look fucking depressing, but they're at key levels, so you can't really short them. But, this thing has just been constant downtrend. The only confirmation, as long as like this 31 holds, I guess. But, just looking at the market structure of this thing, what's the first thing you need to be looking at? Well, the highs and the lows, of course. Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, right? Boom, boom. This is your first potential reversal, right? This what's happening here, right? So you got the lower low, I got the lower high. Are we going to get a lower high? If we see a lower high off of this will confirm a bullish reversal, in my opinion. I would be looking for only long setups, right? And this thing, the way this moves. So if we do get a lower, move right there, boom, 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 whoop, like that. I'd be looking for something like that. Obviously, potentially a head and shoulders, right? So, there's always these endless possibilities, but that's why we just stick with using the horizontal levels for confluence on this stuff. Okay, I was right. AABBB. No worries. Oh, no. Let's stick with the dollars for now. Oh, wow. I say things don't go down in straight lines, but this one's pretty close, isn't it? So no real confirmation of any big buyback volume right now. There's not a lot of price history on this, so we're going to have to bring this down to the 4 hour. Okay, that's nice. I tried to break down here. Rejection, showing that there is some demand at this level. If you bought this, obviously your stop loss is going to be right below this 25.9 level. But what we need to see from a market structure point of view is this getting reclaimed right here. So, until price is back above $33, there's definitely some bearish bias to it still, right? Again, a lot of the markets, what we're seeing in the alt and DeFi space is just early signs of reversal, not confirmed signs of reversal just yet. So what do we need to see? Again, probably going to see price come back up here, pull back a little bit, and then, back up she can go to the next range. It's probably going to be right around here or something, around $38, right? And then if you saw rejection back down here, if this flips to support, right, this resistance, former support confirms the level. So if you see this $32 for back support, it's confirmation of bull, and we'll probably drive price back up into this block up here around, what is that, $48, right? So again, just the theory of waiting for confirmations of levels to flip back to support to give you those signals. That's what we're looking for right now. Again, we're just seeing these early reversals and stuff. Nothing's confirmed just yet. I want to quickly dive into Filecoin. The amount of OTC activity in this one is fucking mind-blowing. There's still, $40, $50 million orders flying around, massive arbitrage between the West and the East. Filecoin is needed to power the hardware. And, Filecoin is not, actually, I'm going to bring this down a little bit. There we go. So you can see, we need this level here to hold, this 27.9. I drew it off the body of the candle, but you can bring it down to see off this range here. Sure enough, look at that, right? So your RR taking longs off this level is, it's good, right? Your invalidation would probably be below like $27. If it fell further, you'd be looking to rebuy around like 24.5 or something. But right now, if you're buying off of this level, it's really good R&R. Like your downside off of that, let's see if you're buying the actual support. So you're risking like 4.5 downside for, say, minimum. So almost 2.5 to 1 there, back up to range. And then obviously the true resistance level up there. So, these are the setups that you should be looking at, right? Super low risk on the downside, high reward on the upside. So yeah, Filecoin looks good. I already have my super downside alarm already set. I'd be interested in if this thing broke range at 95.5. Very confident we'd see price move back up to that $31 level. And then from there, obviously back to 32.2, and finally $37. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity. I keep saying that, but it's true. Let's take a quick look at the total market cap. This is the fucking granddaddy of them all. If we've been consolidating, again, we have the bullish throwback here, this resistance, we're just paused there right now. We haven't broken down, already confirmed the support. So, I personally believe if we see the orange wave, this high is imminently going to be getting run. Right? That's a 5% increase in the total market valuation of the entire space. And if we really start running, you can see, 494, $500 billion market cap. It's not what if, but when at this point, right? Unless there's some like crazy black swan event, I don't think crypto is going to see a massive retreat, like massive 2-year, 1-year bear market or anything right now. If anything, I'm pretty confident that we're just migrating into a new bull cycle, right? So anybody looking to sell like their long-term holdings is, I don't understand your philosophy right now around that at all. What else could we quickly look at here? I guess it's almost 12:12, so we're going to be wrapping up pretty soon. I guess, Unilend, I love this project. Again, I'm an investor. The chart, though, it's just held up where a lot of these other alts have just been crushed. Look at this thing. I'll actually pull it out more so from a CoinTrader Pro account to give you a little bit better idea. I do tweet out this chart quite frequently, actually. So I'll pull it over here, give you a full screen view. This one again has really clear levels. I've been added to this one actually as well at this 25 cent level. Again, classic, very classic. Look at this. Wow, I love this market structure. Grab my drawing tool. So again, you get the breakout above this key level, right? Price runs 50%. Comes back down, retests the level, confirms it as support, right? And now we're just making a nice series. So higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, etc. Right? So how long until this? The key level here is 40 cents. I think it's going to explode up to touch it. Definitely. Come back down, turn this current resistance level here at 35 to support, right? And I think she could really start to fly. So that's what I'm keeping my eyes out for right now. This is one of my favorite Uniswap picks. And same thing with Ethereum here right now. This is probably, look at that, right? These former range highs. If we get above here, I'm very confident we'll go fucking snipe these levels 4.9, 4.10 on Ethereum and stuff right now, right? So this would be your real target. Actually, I'll put this on the hourly, clean it up a little bit. Grab it like this. So we move above this level here, 411, and your next bullish signal would be this 405 level flipping to support. I'm already long from like down here, so I'm feeling okay at the moment. I've just moved my stop losses up. But yeah, like if this confirms back to support on 405 after touching this 410 level, this is where you would be looking to re-add to your longs with a target of this 420 high here, these levels here, right? Only a matter of time until that gets run, assuming that there's no black swan fucking event from the elections. Markets, if this thing goes to the Supreme Court, it's going to be a bumpy ride, right? A quick look. So hold on, quickly. I could talk about this all day. I could run a 6-hour stream. My producer would kill me. But this is I'm going to be adding to this, and we'll definitely get this information out there in a more descriptive way for you guys. Let me minimize this quickly 1 second. Where's my streaming box? There you guys are. So the big news here was we saw a divergence, a decoupling of crypto assets and legacy assets such as gold and US dollar and the S&P 500. So this is Bitcoin, the orange one. This is the S&P, and this is gold. So again, what did we see? We saw gold trending down. At the time, S&P was trending down as well. But with the S&P, every time it comes into a major support level, you think the thing is about just a fucking nuke, right? But you always have that Fed backstop. So, don't trade against Powell. He's got these guys. But more importantly, this divergence here. Bitcoin was increasing very rapidly while everything else was shitting the bed. Normally, as you can see here, we've seen pretty tight correlations for the most part, right? Ignore this. This is just a straight up fucking disconnect bubble, right? Since Corona here, these things have been very well correlated, especially in intraday price action. And right now, like that's what we're monitoring. If crypto that confirms that the narratives of Bitcoin becoming a safe haven asset, hedge against inflation, when we see a divergence, especially against the US dollar, that's going to be your big signal that this is it. Like Bitcoin is matured as an asset. It's a sovereign asset. I do think crypto has been hijacked. I think this asset is going to just become a tool for the rich. I think we just saw some news coming out of Hong Kong. They want to restrict retail access to exchanges. Russia is looking to put restrictions on the amount of purchases that people can buy. I think we're going to see a lot of this, right? And that's just going to restrict access for users. Obviously, there's walkarounds. It's fucking decentralized. We got Uniswap. We got so many DEXs. I know there's ways around it, guys. But the point is that I've worked with plenty of engineers over the days. And a lot of these guys have been telling us, you build it and they will come. It's not true. People need to know about your ideas in order for them to come. You could have a cure for cancer. You could be set up a desk, wait for people to come. If nobody knows about it, your cure for cancer is fucking worthless because it's not getting distributed, right? It's the exact same thing with any asset. People need to know that the technologies exist. And that's why Bitcoin, that first mover advantage, is so important, because it has 10 years of building a brand, a history behind it. A lot of these stuff, like fucking, Filecoin, nobody knows what this shit is, right? Besides a few select early investors. That's it. All right, I'm done. My spiel is over. I'm bullish long term. I don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 minutes. You have my levels. I've given you everything I can. Please, if you like the channel, like, subscribe. RT and I will be here on Friday to walk you through the fallout of the US election. Let's put over the camera here to see my beautiful face. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. I'm screwed. And we will see you again Friday, same time. Bitcoin coming back down to the 14K level, just as we're talking at the moment. 13.99. Are we going to see a cascade here? Maybe we'll stay on stream just for another second. Ethereum coming back down a little bit. Again, see, this is why we wait for confirmation, guys. Look, if you were just FOMOing up here hoping for continuation from this 403s up to 410 as we were just talking, you're not feeling too good right now as Ethereum, 399 at the moment, right? So where would I be looking for Ethereum to support? Probably back around like 394, 390, right? But again, I think the short-term volatility will continue. The U.S. election is undecided. Trump is potentially contesting it all. Could be a fucking fraud. Democracy could be over. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Crazy times. Anyways, we will see you here again Friday. Be sure to follow our real-time analysis on the election and everything that's happening in crypto on our Twitter. All the links are in the description. And as RT says, always play from a position of strength. And we will see you guys on Friday. Thank you.